Welcome to the webinar. My name is Kim. It's good to see everyone on here. Let's see, a bunch of us are joining now. Usually takes just a bit for everyone to get on board here. Go ahead and find the chat box. Usually it's on Zoom, it's like the bottom and the black bar at the bottom. Go ahead and find the chat box and let me know where you're calling from. Where in the US or the world are you calling from? Go ahead and find that chat box. Welcome, Demetria, Farida, Sarah, Jacqueline, Kim, Leslie, Linda, Marilyn, Morna, Sarah, Shanna, Veronique, Virginia. Welcome. We're going to be getting about double this amount as well. Go ahead and find the chat box just like Sarah just did, and let me know where you're calling from. Arvada, Colorado. Sarah, I was there in Colorado just a few weeks ago. We've got Maryland and Arkansas. Who else? There's a bunch of you on here. Let's see. Where else are we calling from? Atlanta, Jacqueline. I grew up in Atlanta, actually. I technically claim Atlanta home, but I grew up all over the world. Lake Tahoe, California, North Texas, South Carolina. Demetria, we're in Texas. I have team members in Houston, and they were pretty affected by the hurricane a couple weeks ago. You're in Austin. Awesome. Leslie, South Carolina. More is in Frisco, Texas. So a lot of South, it looks like. A lot of South. And a few Californians. Originally from Brazil. Ooh, that's fun, but living in New York for years. Awesome. Welcome, Virginia. I am in Salt Lake City this week, and next week I'll be in Costa Rica. I split my time half and half between Costa Rica and Salt Lake City, and I'm excited to be heading back. It's almost like one of those things like, well, once you've experienced life, I don't know, there's something about like dirt roads and chickens and street dogs and like carrying my food home from the grocery store on my back. It just does one of those things there. Let's see. Yes, Dimitri, I'm really live. Yes. Misha's Louisiana and Christine, California. Huge wildfire. Oh no. We certainly will understand if you need to jump off. I was on a training a couple of days ago, and a man was from Kenya, and he said, you know what? There's civil unrest here. It's not safe, and all of the power will be shutting off here pretty soon. And I'm on battery backup, but here I am to train. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Bless your heart. Farida, you're from Kenya. I love that. I guess lots of unrest happening right now. I know. I hope he's doing well as well. That was really eye-opening just to see his level of commitment of showing up, even though things were going down. Same thing with you, Christine, with the huge wildfire. So let's jump into it then. We're going to do a very interactive webinar tonight, in case you can't tell already. Like, that's half of the fun. For me, instead of just staring at a green dot, I get to like chat with you guys in the chat box. So we're going to make this really interactive. Who are you? Mostly women. I always have a few brave men. So women and a few brave men who want to host retreats, right? Most retreat leaders are women, and most people who come to my events are women, and I love that crowd. So welcome, welcome. Do we have any guys on here today? Any men or people who identify as men? Let me know, and I'll cater this more to men and not just women, but welcome, whoever you are, however you identify, welcome, welcome. Okay, so usually people who come and want to host a retreat usually say, I want to do one of these three things. They've always had a dream of hosting a retreat. That's always been on their radar, and they're like, yes, this is what I've always wanted to do. So how many of you are like, yep, there's been this thread in my life. I love going to retreats. I've always known I wanted to do them. Morna, Demetria, Sarit, Yeep, says Veronica. Veronique, Yeep. I love it. So a lot of you, I feel it's my calling. Christine, I hear you on that one. I didn't know, quick story, I didn't know it was my calling until I was a business coach. That's what I've been for, I don't know, 20, 25 years. But I didn't realize retreats were it for me until I hosted my first retreat. This is going to date me, y'all. I hosted my first retreat in 2011. Didn't know what I was doing. Went to Costco with my minivan and my trailer, packed up a bunch of croissants and chicken salad sandwiches, and said, we'll do fine. I wasn't a very prestigious retreat leader at my first retreat. And we had it at our family cabin in Bear Lake, Utah, which was like 3 hours from the airport. So that means I picked up everyone up that flew in the van with the trailer, with the Costco, and drove 3 hours after the airport. Brutal. Don't do that to your clients. And then we were there in the cabin. And that last day at my retreat, my first retreat, I like looked around. It was a dining room table. I looked around this dining room table with 8 or 10 other people, and I was like, this is it. It doesn't get better than this level of connection, this level of impact, this level of, I found my group, like this intense support where you can take off your Superman cape and just be like, I'm here with y'all. I'm as imperfect as you are, and everyone else. I don't know, just this incredible, in meditation, you call it Sangha, like this group of support. And so I'm there with you. Let's see. Marilyn says, I coach to get to do retreats. Yeah, but it's what I love, and I just want to do retreats. It just dawned on me. Can I just skip to that? Oh, I'm going to show you. I want to show you at the very end of the training today what the model would look like. That's exactly what I did. I stopped coaching and I just did retreats. In fact, I built my company to do 200 retreats a year, y'all. I don't know if I'd recommend that. You can have too many children. You can have too many cats, and you can host too many retreats. So now I'm dialing it back. I probably will still host, I don't know, 20 or 30 retreats this coming year, but in all different topics. Anyway, that's me. That's my crazy story. I'll tell my official story in just a second. But is this, you've always had a dream, or this is my sister. This is not a picture of my sister. This is a stock photo. But my sister has recently found a passion for something. I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years ago, she became intensely interested in like women's ovulation cycles and pregnancy and all things hormones. Like she is like a pregnancy nut. She became a doula. She lives in Costa Rica, about 15-minute walk away from me. Woohoo, isn't that fun? So if you come to my retreat, you'll meet her there. She's our yoga instructor there. But she recently found a passion for doulaing. She'd never considered doing retreats before. She found this passion and she was like, oh my gosh, retreats would be a great fit for this. So how many of you are that? You recently found a passion for something versus you've always wanted to do a retreat? And as I'm waiting for those answers to come in, Christine is like, how do you find the time to schedule them all? I have a team. It's not just me. I have a team. Yeah, with 200 retreats, we had a team of about 60 people. So it takes a lot of people if you want to do that many retreats. But how many of you have recently found a passion for something? Anyone here? Recent, Danielle. I'm trying to marry all my interests into a lucrative business. And the beautiful thing about retreats is they're not only lucrative, but they are so impactful. And how fun is it that you get to go to retreats as your career, right? All right, number 3, Beverly's recently found a passion. What's your passion, Beverly? I want to hear. All right, and while she's chiming in on that, this is the third person that I regularly work with, and that is, I've already hosted a retreat or two. It was very difficult. I had a hard time filling it. And I thought I had to cancel the last minute, or I did cancel the last minute, or maybe I was able to sell out one to my friends. And then I tried to sell out retreat number 2, and I ran out of friends. And I was like, oh no, what do I do now? I had to cancel, or lost my shorts, or whatever else. Is that a saying? I lost my shorts. Anyway, a lot of people work with me who have already tried to do it on their own, and it proves to be more challenging. So how many of you have already hosted a few retreats? Let's see. Leslie says, this is a new space for me, but looking forward to hosting this first one. Woohoo. Beverly is moving through the adversity of childhood trauma. Awesome. And we're going to dig into your messaging here in just a little bit, Beverly, and you're going to workshop style that message like real time with me today. Yay. All right, let's see. Marilyn has hosted one and another one scheduled this fall. I love it. So maybe just getting into retreats and you have your first few under your belt and you're like, maybe I want to learn from the lady who has grown a $10 million business doing nothing but hosting retreats. It's a little insane, y'all. It's a little insane. Let me just jump forward to my bio really quickly. This is my story. I am the CEO and founder of many businesses. I love business. I friggin' love business. And those of you who love spreadsheets and love, I don't know, putting everything in neat little columns, we're going to be good friends. But I've grown multiple 7-figure businesses and one 8-figure business, which was my $10 million revenue business. Hosted 500 retreats, won all these awards. It sounds all sexy and great. Oh man, y'all, still married 27 years. I might have to delete that one pretty soon. Sorry, for those of you who've been there, you know what that's, but TMI maybe, TMI right now maybe. But so this is my bio, and this is like the slick and sexy version of it. Oh, this is all the cool things I've done. But you and I both know that life does not let you skate through with only cool bullet points. Like I've had my ass handed to me. 2020 was a really difficult year for me. I know 2020 was difficult for a lot of people, and thankfully no one I knew lost their life, which is the ultimate difficult. But I did lose my business. January 2020 We had our most successful month ever. I was reading my journal about this a while back, and it was like, this is our year. This is the year. This is going to be an amazing year, kind of thing. And yeah, 6 months or 6 weeks later, we were, completely shut down. So we had multiple locations around the country, and all we did was run retreats. And so we had no revenue for about 5 months, as you guys probably can imagine. And we had to shut our doors. And it was so devastating to me. And whew, that was hard, y'all. That was really difficult. Yeah, Dimitri, thank you. And those of you who have been through really difficult things, which we all get to do that on this, journey that we call planet Earth, right? There's lots of difficult things that come at us. The beautiful comes out of the death, right? The one thing dies and something more beautiful can oftentimes take its place, even though it might look totally different. And that's what happened for me. When I had the big $10 million business and when that died, I was so lost, upset, depressed, didn't know what to do with my life. Nothing got me excited. And I was so worried that my business engine would just be permanently off. I was like, I don't know if it'll ever turn back on again. Really sad and depressed. And my sister, who lives in Costa Rica, I was telling you about her a minute ago, she reached out to me and said, why don't you come house sit? I won't be there in September, October. Come house sit. And I hadn't been before. And I went out there and just fell in love with the country. And I thought, oh my goodness, this could be my life. I started brainstorming with my other sister, all three sisters together, brainstorming what could we do? Oh, let's host retreats. Duh, this is what my background is. And 6 months ago, so that was a couple years ago. So now 6 months ago, I just purchased my own retreat center that is oceanfront. I can't even believe it. And so this all breaks down and something even more beautiful takes its place, but it takes time. So it takes time. Anyway, that's my crazy story. So now I'm in Costa Rica and I post this picture everywhere because when you're over 40 and you drop a few pounds and look good in a bikini, you're like, I'm posting that baby everywhere. But I may have gained 10 or 15 pounds, so don't hold me to this picture, but I'm still posting it. Still posting it. Let's see, Farida is one of 3 sisters as well. There's something magical about sisters. Something magical about sisters. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn today the blueprint. Let me just scroll that slide here. We're going to learn the blueprint of exactly what I do and what I did to host 200 retreats a year. Leica, my assistant, is posting that in the chat box right now. There's the Masterclass workbook if you haven't downloaded that yet. And we're going to go through and I'm going to show you a high level gloss over of all the building blocks that you need to learn to be able to essentially duplicate my business. So when my retreat business crashed and I was like, what do I do with my life now? And I was like, oh, Eureka, Costa Rica, let's host retreats. That was my Eureka moment. It was, why don't I teach people what I've done? Why don't I work with wellness business owners? Let me show you who I work with now. I work with business coaches like me. That's what I built my business on. I work with wellness business owners. This could be massage, nutrition, book writing, grief counseling, a travel club, teenage relationships, mermaiding, anything you want to do. I actually said that mermaiding as a verb. It's a hot new thing right now. Christine, you might be right. She says, will this be available for replay? I feel like I might need to watch this at least 2 more times. Yeah, you might need to because we're going to dig into spreadsheets and everything. So Christine will definitely give you a replay on that. So let me ask you, where are my business coaches? Anyone here? Who are my business coaches in the room? Business coaches or career coaches, or Virginia is. And what's your specialty? I just want to get to know what kind of businesses we have here today. Brand coach, says Shanna. Love it. Yes, there's replays. Virginia, what kind of business coach are you? So there's usually a smattering of business coaches, maybe some finance trainers, things like that. Career coaches, corporate coaches. Virginia's marketing and project management. Perfect. You're in the right place. I work with a lot of wellness business owners, massage, nutrition, puncture. Let's see, I met with someone today who does acupuncture and Reiki. And what else did she do? She did a third one too, which is really common for wellness business owners. We like to get certified in all the things, right? Sarah says wellness coach. Awesome. Let's see. Marilyn says health coach. Whole health, physical, mental, financial relationships, clinical hypnotherapist. I love it, Farida. I had a client, one of my very first clients, like 15 years ago, was a clinical hypnotherapist, and she did some amazing things. Morna, wellness candles, scents, business and health coach. Love it. So a lot of wellness business owners. I also love working with therapists and life coaches. I probably work with more therapists than any other, one specific genre. Any therapists here or life coaches? And thank you in advance, y'all, for not posting like websites and things like that. That's really respectful to me and I really appreciate it. Therapists and life coaches. Where are my therapists? No therapists? How is that possible? Naima is, that's me. Lynn says therapist. Yep, it's like therapy and retreats go hand in hand. Life coach here too, beautiful. All right, how about existing retreat leaders, usually in yoga or meditation, like classic retreat leaders, yoga, meditation. There it is. Christine, yoga, meditation, sound healing, sacred ceremonies. Yep, that's really common. So those are my people that I usually work with. And if you have a different topic that would lend itself well to retreats, let me know in the chat box. Let's see. Beverly says, I'm a bit confused. Is a retreat about days of coaching seminars or going away to have fun? I'm unclear now. Beverly, you're good. Okay, let's actually let's talk about this really quickly. Two different types of retreats. The type of retreat I do is a transformational retreat. And if you work with me as a client of mine, you will need to do a transformational retreat, meaning you come here and you leave here. And we're about to workshop this in just a second so we can talk about what that transformation will be. If you want to go to a rest and relax retreat, that's awesome. The issue with rest and relax retreats is there's usually not a lot of profit to be had unless you're a hotel owner. If you're a hotel owner like me, absolutely, you can host those rest and relax retreats that you can charge $1,500 for, and you can still be profitable. If you do not own a hotel or a retreat center, you will not be able to be profitable hosting $1,000 to $1,500 retreat. There's not enough margin in there. So if you're working with me, you will need to host a transformational retreat that starts at $3,000. So that's where my clients start. Their retreats are $3,000, $5,000, $7,000, depending on where they are in the world, depending on what kind of transformation you're providing, and depending on how long the retreat is. And so that's the difference. What a great question, Beverly. Is this about relaxation? No, there's no profit in that unless you own a hotel. This is about transformation. Does that make sense, Beverly? Let me know if that makes sense for you. Naima says, I do a transformational retreat with business and rest. Love it. I'm a lawyer who wants to focus on women in transition. Ooh, I like that. Danielle's, ooh, Kim might be going through a divorce here. Maybe she's my client. Maybe I am. Beverly says, absolutely. Okay, perfect. All right. The other question is, the type of person I work with is someone who is doing something new. Maybe you have been a massage therapist your whole life, but you really want to get into, this is a client of mine that I'm working with right now. She's been a massage therapist all her life, and she really wants to get into being a polyamorous coach, which is a hot niche right now. And so she wants to host a polyamorous retreat. And I'm like, perfect. She doesn't have a business built around polyamory. She has her business built around massage therapy, but totally fine. It doesn't matter. As long as you have business experience, I would love to work with you, even if it's in a brand new industry. Who I don't work with, and it's not because I don't love you, but who I don't work with is people who do not have business experience. In case you haven't figured out already, my pacing tends to be fast. I like to move and I like to do spreadsheets and like to dive in, and I like to say, okay, now we're doing this. And if you're brand spanking new to business, like if you've never been on a sales call before or had a client before or know how to do the basics of business, I'm going to leave you in the dust crying, and I don't want you to have that experience. So not a fit for that. All right. So we're going to dig into content here in just a second. I do have a really big gift for you. Of course, those of you who have been on a million webinars know that we always have gifts. And my gift actually is really cool. It is a spreadsheet of all spreadsheets. I'll share it with you in a second. I'll show it to you. It used to be something I just shared with people who came to my retreat. So I should say that this is what I do now. So what I do now is I host retreats at my retreat center in Costa Rica, teaching people how to host retreats. I only do 3 or 4 of these a year. I do other types of retreats, the more relaxation retreats that Beverly asked me about. But I do 3 or 4 of these like intense transformation. You come to my retreat and you learn how to host a retreat while you're there. So I've got a gift for you, something that I used to only give the clients that were at the retreat. And you know what? In this phase of my life, y'all, I've already made the tens of millions. It doesn't satisfy. I know everyone will tell you this, but as someone who has been down that road and chased that numerical goal, it doesn't satisfy. I know everyone tells you that, and we still chase and still chase. Now, I'm not talking about paying your bills. You need to be able to pay your bills, and I like being financially comfortable. That's a beautiful thing. But all this talk of, oh, I want more and more just for the sake of having more, does not satisfy and is a little bit of, in my opinion, a waste of your life's energy. There's the happiness comes from within, and happiness also comes from right here, right now. So right here, right now, I'm loving your chats coming in. I'm feeling happy that Virginia laughed at my lame joke. Like, I'm here right now with you. This is the crazy thing. Like, it doesn't get any better. If you had $10 million business, $1 million in the bank, it doesn't get any better than right now. And that is assuming you can pay your bills. Like, I get that. If financially can't pay your bills, I get that. That's a harder place. Okay, so I digress. I don't know where I'm going. I'm on like a little soapbox here. Let's move on. Let's get into content, shall we? Let's get into content. Okay, I'm about to show you the entire strategy of how to build the retreat building block. So here's the thing. Once you learn how to build one retreat profitably, that's the key, that's the kicker, right? It has to be profitable. You can't just work your ass off for 3 months before the retreat, and then you go to the retreat and you make $500. That's not sustainable. It has to be profitable. I'm going to show you how to make a $50,000 retreat. And you're going to think, there's no way. Yes, there is. I've done this for 15 years. There is a way to do $50,000 retreats. So I'll show you the building block right now. Yes, the key word is profit. Beautiful. And so I'm going to show you a gloss over of the entire strategy. And then we're going to dive in deeply into 3 of the topics on the strategy. So here it is. Here is the content that I train at my retreat. It's called Build a Retreat in 5 Days. And there are 3 like building blocks here. So phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Phase 1 is your messaging. So here's the crazy thing. Whenever I ask people, that I usually do at the beginning of this webinar, and I totally forgot, what's the one thing that you're like, I really want to learn this. Like, I can't host retreats until I learn this. What people usually say, and if you answer that right now in your head or pop it in the chat box, what people usually say is all the logistics. How do I know the contracts, the legalities, do I bring another person? How much do I pay them if I do? How many people do I bring? How do I book a location? Where do I book a location? How much is it going to cost me? What's my budget going to be? Like, all the logistics things, that can be pretty overwhelming. That's the phase 2 machine. I hear that all the time. Like, I need to learn this. And I'm like, yes. And then this is the other biggie. I can have the most beautiful retreat set up in the world, but how do I sell into it? After my first retreat, that all my friends came, which is awesome. It's a great utilization of your friends, right? After your first retreat, when your friends come, how do I actually do this in a sustainable way? Do it every year, 3 times a year, 5 times a year, twice a year, whatever your goal is. How do I do that? And that's the big one right here. The pay by number marketing and the giving script. And this is the secret. This is the big stuff, right? At my retreat, I actually spend about 2.5 out of this 5 days on these 2 right here. That's how big it is. You've got to be able to market and sell your retreat, right? But the piece on here that leads to success with everything else, you can't sell this retreat out unless you nail your message right here. And how do I know this? I frequently, in this new phase of my life, right? So I have the retreat center and I host a bunch of fun retreats, and some of them sell out like hotcakes and some of them are like flatline, and we are busting our ass trying to sell these retreats, right? What's the difference? It's a pretty similar experience, right? You still come to the same place, you still have the same activities. It's a pretty similar experience. What's the difference? You tell me. What do you think the difference is? Messaging, time. Here's a little hint right here. It's this phase 1 right here. It's this phase 1. I'm being a annoying trainer right now saying, guess my head. It's the message you got. It's the message right here. If you can nail that message and show them that it really will be a transformation, that you're starting them here, that you'll end up here, if you can be very clear on that message, I'm not saying it'll sell itself, but sometimes they almost sell themselves. And so it's the message is everything. You've got to nail the message. So we're going to dive deeply into the first step of nailing your message, which I call SMORE, specific, measurable, objective, results-based. That's where we're going to start. This phase right here has 2 other steps in it as well. The 10-minute marketing recon, which is how to piggyback on your competitors' following. So you don't need to have a following before you get started. You do not. Can I just repeat that? You do not need a following to host your first 2, 5, 12 retreats. Getting Instagram famous is a different business model. It's not what I teach. It's not what I've done. If you want to be Insta famous, awesome to you. It's not what we're doing here. What we're doing here is building profitable retreats, and it has nothing to do with having more than 12 followers on Instagram. Good? That's the good news. All right. And then we're going to go into the matrix also. This is, sorry, not today, but at my retreat. The matrix is essentially building all of your content into a matrix just like this right here. You take all of your content and you organize it and structure it so that it makes sense and is digestible to your clients. Okay, so we're going to dive into this SMORE one first. I want you to write down the definition of SMORE first of all. So SMORE is specific, measurable, objective, results-based. Specific, measurable, objective, results-based. Here we go. So heart-based businesses, if you're a wellness business owner, a business coach, anything like that, you have a pretty heart-based business, right? It's not like you are a plumber. Plumbers have the luxury of being able to go into this heartfelt space, right? If you're a plumber, you can say, we love our clients. We love plumbing. We love prosperity, abundance, peace, joy, love. You can do that as much as you want to as a plumber because everyone still knows what you do, right? They're like, yeah, you're going to unclog my toilet. We already know that, right? If you have a heart-based business, if you're a therapist, a nutritionist, a wellness business owner of any type, you are going to require a results-based message. A results-based message. So here we go. When you Google something on Google, think about the last time you Googled something. I took a screenshot of, I put on Google how to, and this is my actual screenshot. The very first thing that pops up is how to screenshot on a Mac because I frequently Google that. I always forget. Let's see. The rest of these I haven't Googled, but Google is predicting that I want to know how to tie a tie, how to make buttermilk, how to watch the Super Bowl. I guess Google doesn't know me very well. How to watch Yellowstone season 5. So what we're looking for is answers to very specific problems, right? I'm not going to Google, and I'm guessing your clients are not either. You're not going to go to Google and say how to have love, peace, and joy in my life, or how to heal my child within. That's really beautiful and it's lovely and it's like poetry, but it's not what our clients are looking for. In your marketing message, you want to be specific, measurable, objective, yes or no, is this accomplished, and results-based. What are my results from healing my inner child? Does that make sense? And that can be a hard pill to swallow because we love messaging like this, right? I went to a retreat site that posts a bunch of different retreats, and these are the retreat topics. Create a life that is fully aligned with your spiritual purpose on earth. Beautiful. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing at that retreat. I have no idea what transformation is going to happen for me. That, my friends, is like a relaxation retreat, right? That's a relaxation retreat. I'm going to pay $300 to go to that retreat. And I'm not going to pay $3,000 to create a life that is fully aligned with my spiritual purpose on earth because I don't know what that means. And I don't have that pain point. I have the pain point of, and I'm not talking about me specifically, but like your clients will have the pain point of money, body, or relationships. Money. How do I fill in the blank? How do I get a loan? How do I avoid bankruptcy? How do I get out of medical debt? How do I get a job that I like? How do I buy a property with no money down? How do I, you guys get the idea, right? Specific topics that we're looking for. So that's money. Body, same thing, specific. Instead of how to love and appreciate my body, how to love myself, that kind of thing, which is the road we want to go in this heart space business or this heart felt business. Instead of that, we're going to go to, let me show you some examples here. Let's do these. How to fall asleep within 30 minutes and stay asleep all night. It's specific, it's measurable, it's results-based. And objective. Yes, I am now sleeping within 30 minutes. Does that make sense? And so there's another body one, how to get your blood pressure down 10 points. Here's one for relationships. That's the third, right? So money, body, and relationships. Your message is going to lie within one of those three, money, body, or relationship, money, body, or relationships. And so here's two body ones. Here's a relationship one, how to make the decision if you want to stay in your marriage. You come to my retreat and you make a commitment to either dig in and be married and really commit to each other by the end of the retreat, or you decide by the end of the retreat that you're ready to go your separate ways or something like that. And the therapist might be like, oh, that's a bit tight because 5 days that's a hard decision to make in 5 days. But I think you guys get the idea. You get the idea. How to add retreats to your coaching or wellness business. This is mine. This is my topic. How to convert 10 pounds of fat into muscle. how to have a wardrobe that accentuates your body type, how to master transcendental meditation, 10 steps to know when to quit your job, how to overhaul your resume, etc., etc., etc. So we are going from what we call it in my retreat is we call it the ladder of abstraction. And we actually take out a ladder and put it in the sand and we have you climb the ladder. and if you come up with something like this, which is really common, we're like, stay up there, babe, stay up there. And then the more defined you can do, you come down the ladder. All right, so I'm going to keep telling you messaging things and keep instructing you in this. But this is the workshop portion of the evening. I want you to go ahead and give me your best guess in the chat box, your best iteration right now, and know that it's just an iteration. It's going to be like, you're going to have 20 of these. You're going to be like, oh, that's not tight enough. Oh, that's not who I really want to work with. Oh, I really don't want to do that. Oh, but I love this, that kind of thing. It's going to take a while. It's not going to be one of those instant things, but go ahead and pop them in the chat box. And those of you who pop it in first, there's a lot of you on here right now. I don't have time for everyone's. And so if you want to pop it in and get it near the top, then I do have time to go into it. So there's your challenge there. And just know that if you put it in the chat box, I would love to give you feedback, but I'll be gentle. Don't you worry, I'll be gentle. Okay, while those are coming in, I'm going to go through a couple more here. So let's say you want to do a relationship retreat. Instead of feel more connected, which makes you want to take your lighter out and do some kumbayaing, but we really don't have a sense of what does it mean to be connected. So instead of that, I worked with a client who was a sex coach, 3 months to enjoy sex, how to go from feeling bad at sex. Notice I have it in quotes, bad at sex. That's her client language. That's her client language. Listen to how powerful it is to use client language. She uses it twice here. How to go from feeling bad at sex to deeply enjoying it while improving a relationship without ever enduring obligation sex again. Her clients will read this and be like, bing, bing, I want that because she speaks my language. Notice what this coach is not doing. This coach is not saying, I use Reiki, I use massage, I use internal family systems, I'll enter all the modalities here, right? Your message has nothing to do with your modality. Ooh, your message has nothing to do with your modality. Whatever technique or training or modality you use to cause that transformation is usually not what the client is looking for. The client is looking for the actual transformation. Even though you're like, I went to, school for that for 12 years. And I'm like, awesome. And no one cares. Your client doesn't care how many degrees you have. Your clients care that you understand where they're coming from. And you can say, we're starting you here. And at this event, we're going to take you from here to here. That's what we're looking for. All right. We've got some some messaging coming in. All right, let's see. Linda says, how to build a location independent business. Okay, so location independent. I'm a business coach and I'm still a little bit confused about the phrase location independent. I'm guessing you're talking about traveling nomad, like working nomads, whatever that whole movement is, right? I want it to be a little bit more specific and I want you to use the client language a little bit more. Oftentimes we think as coaches that we have to use big words, that we have to use like the cutting edge in our industry, right? Or the words that our colleagues use. What we really want to do is take it to what our clients are using. And if our clients are saying the words location independent, then you're going to use that. But I don't think they are. I think they're saying how to live on the road and live in Thailand for 3 months while working or something like that. Like, you see how more specific it is? So we're looking for more specific, Linda, but 5 points for being the first one to chime in there. Naima says, are we adding our language for feedback? Yes. Farida says, learn tools to get out of your mind and back into your body so you can create a better way of dealing with life's ups and downs. Okay, so a lot of, I understand what it is that you're asking, that you're telling people, I want to get out of my mind and back into my body, but that's a technique, right? I want to get back into my body as a technique. That's not the actual pain point. The pain point is my client laying awake at night thinking, how do I deal with this? And again, money, body, relationships. How do I pay my bills? How do I get out of debt? How do I improve the relationship with my teenager that's driving me crazy? Or how do I have a good friend whose platform is suicide prevention. How do I overcome the grief of a suicide, like very specific. So that's money and body. And that's money and relationships. How about body? I don't know about you, but as a woman in the US, there's so much pressure to look good, right? Like, how do I finally stop eating so much? Or how do I stop emotionally eating? Or how do I lose this 10 pounds? It doesn't need to be fresh. It doesn't need to be new. It doesn't need to be gimmicky. It doesn't need to be like, I don't know, something that no one's heard of before. It needs to be your client language, what they actually care about, what they're actually talking about. Does that make sense? All right, I'm going to go and do another business retreat, and I'm going to hunt down a business retreat in the chat here. All right, for a business retreat, instead of I teach you to have more abundance in your business, abundance, prosperity, peace, love, joy, all of those words should be like, ding, ding, I'm way too high on the ladder. I need to come down and ask myself to be more specific. So 6 steps to webinar mastery. Maybe that'd be a boring retreat. Maybe it'd be a good workshop, right? 6 steps to webinar mastery, the simple method to host and sell on a webinar, even if you aren't tech savvy. You see how I go from, I don't know anything about webinars to I come to this event and I build my webinar. That's a transformation, right? And you as a business coach might think there's so much more I could do than teach people how to host webinars. I can do finance, I can do marketing, I can do sales, I can do it all. Awesome. And you're going to pick one of those lanes and you're going to say, what's one transformation that my client wants to start here and end here? And that's where you're going to start. All right, let's jump into the chat box again. Let's see. I'm trying to find a business one. Okay, here's Namus. Join us for a transformative week-long retreat designed to elevate your leadership skills. And I would ask you again, is my client laying awake at night in bed thinking, oh man, I need to elevate my leadership skills? That might be what's going on, and it probably is what's going on. I think of another retreat leader that I know, and bless her heart, she's constantly complaining about her employees. Her employees are always quitting. She's always firing them. And I'm like, sweetie, you need to elevate your leadership skills. But that's not what she's laying awake thinking about, right? She's laying awake thinking about, how do I find a team that I actually want to work with? Or how do I find competent people? And so you really want to dive in the brain of your client and not the solution. The solution is, where did it go? Elevate your leadership skills. That's not what the client can see. The client can see their pain, their stress, and oftentimes it might be blame in that situation, and that's okay. We're going to meet our client where they're at. And then when they come to your retreat, you're going to say, hey, sweetie, all those problems that you have, that has nothing to do with recruiting the right team. That's you, babe. Same thing with this relationship retreat, right? If you went to this retreat, do you know what her content is? Her content is not, let's go to a retreat and have wild sex. Her content is, let's come to this retreat and learn how to say no. Let's come to this retreat and learn relationship skills, communication skills, and how to ask for what you want. That's what it is, right? But we meet people where they're at. And then so meet people where they're at, and then look for those pain points of what do they lay awake at night thinking of. I'm going long here. Let's see. Join us for a transformative week-long retreat designed to elevate your leadership skills. We're going to edit that one. Refine your business strategies. No one cares about refining their business strategies, right? It's way up on the ladder of abstraction. I don't even know what that means, and that's what I do. And then rejuvenate your mind and body. And all of a sudden, we went from business to like body and also to like mental health. We just spread out our message and got way too big. And what happens when we do that is we think we're being like, no, it's all encompassing, it's everything. What we're actually doing is weakening our message by saying, just kidding, this is not going to be a real transformation. We're going to throw in a bunch of like healerish stuff in there and you'll be fine. That kind of thing. That's the message that I get when I start seeing a tighter business content, and all of a sudden we throw in like mental health, relationships, love, peace, and joy. It just dilutes your message and makes me less likely to believe that I actually can have that transformation. Let's see. Led by experienced business coaches, this exclusive retreat offers a comprehensive program focusing on key areas essential for entrepreneurial success. Again, that whole sentence, we've got lots of 3 and 4, 5-syllable words. I want you to bring it way down the ladder and ask yourself, if you didn't work for a corporation that sounds like this, if you were actually talking to people who have real fears and are laying in bed thinking, oh man, how do I get my boss to like me? How do I get a promotion? I keep screwing up at work. Maybe they got fired. Maybe they're in a dead end job. Maybe they hate their job. What's the pain point here? Really go after that pain point. Thank you so much, Naima, for putting that in there. That was some good juice that we got to dig in there. All right. I am running really long. And by the way, heads up, we are going to run long here. I'm so sorry. We've got about an hour of content, but I've got about an hour and a half of all this workshop stuff. So I'm going to run long. And yes, you will get a replay. But I want you now just to read through to yourself the chat box of all of those messaging. It's so much easier to see for other people than it is to see for ourselves. And I want you to mentally ask yourself, where are they on the ladder of abstraction? Can you immediately say, yep, I can see they start here, they end here? Or is it like way up in the clouds, love, peace, joy, connection, that they need to come down that ladder? And ooh, Yeko, I just read yours. Feel sexy and confident and naked. I want to come to your retreat. Oh, that's funny. I love it. I love when those stand out. You're like, oh, hello. All right. But for sake of time, we are going to move on. In your workbook, you have a whole model of this. Do this so you can have this result. That phrase there. Do this so you can have this. But for sake of time, we've got to move on. You ready, y'all? You ready to move on for the second one? First of all, let's take a quick little poll on this first one before we move on to the second one. Tell me what your number one takeaway is from using a results-based message, from a SMORE message. What's your number one takeaway? Lorna says, be specific. Kill the fluff. Yes, you're solving a problem. I'm too vague. Yeah, awesome. Can't be vague. Be direct, no sugarcoating. Be specific on your delivery. You guys got it. Really nice. Good. And even if you know that's the goal, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be tricky to get there. It's going to take a while to get there. For those of you who are interested in coming to my retreat, you're going to have that homework assignment of working on that message before you come. And you're going to come after having worked on it. And I'm still going to say, let's do some more work. Here's my promise to you, though. You will leave that segment of the training being like, I got it. I got it. We're going to do lots of work with you on this to make sure you've got a really nailed in message. But it is difficult. Easy, but difficult. No, I should say simple, but difficult, right? All right, let's move on to the second phase here. The second phase is the machine. This is all of your logistics, right? So this is not only how to be a speaker, this is how to be an effective retreat leader. Oh my goodness, y'all, horror story. So my very first retreat, I was terrified that I would have mutiny. That's pretty much the retreat host's worst fear, right? That everyone in the crowd is going to say, nope, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to be here. I'm leaving, or I'm just not going to attend your trainings anymore, and whatever else, like mutiny. And I was like, what if I have retreat mutiny? Didn't happen at my retreat. It was delightful. Have never personally experienced retreat mutiny. I actually was at a retreat about a month ago that had mutiny. That poor retreat host, y'all, that poor retreat host. She was not a client of mine. And my sister and I are frequent retreat attendees, obviously. And we pulled her aside after day one because everyone was griping. And we were like, hey, listen, we have some constructive criticism if you want some. Like, you could start doing games and activities and things like that instead of just lecturing, and maybe the audience would be more receptive. She was like, oh, that's a good idea, but it's way beyond my skill set. And we were like, okay. The next day, everyone at the retreat, except for me and my sister, blasted her and said, we don't like your training style. We're not going to go to any more of your trainings. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like worst. This is I know Sarah says, oh God, a new fear is unlocked. I'm so sorry. Y'all, I've never seen this happen before. I've been to so many retreats and I've never seen this happen before. The reason it happened is because she did not do any kind of games, activities, feedback, turn to your partner, give me a high five. She didn't do any of those speaker things. She stood at the front of the room and she lectured to her people, and they did not go to Costa Rica to be lectured for hours a day. And so this speaker cheat will prevent that. It's all the games, activities, bells and whistles. All of your content will need a game activity. We call it ta-da, a tool, an analogy, a diagram, something like that, but to make it palatable and make it memorable and actually be a good trainer. So that's what that is right there. And I'm so sorry. Naima, she was a school teacher. You're like, I've been that. My fifth grade teacher was that. Unfortunately, that's most people's default. If you have no teaching or training experience, your default might be to just lecture. Hers was just a brutal style. So anyway, that's the speaker cheat sheet. You'll learn how to be a good trainer when you come to my retreat. But this is the biggie right here, gently audacious calculations. These are all of your, like I said before, like your contracts, your lists, your menu, your shopping, your, I don't know, every list you can possibly imagine is gently audacious calculations. I'm going to show you one spreadsheet today. We're going to dive into it, and then I'm going to share a bunch of spreadsheets with you for the next step. I'll share that with you. And then we have the 90-day perfect process. This is 90 days before your retreat. What do you need to do week by week? So it's a Gantt chart. If you're familiar with that term, it's okay, 3 months out, 3 months, week 1. These are all the things you need to do. 3 months, 2 weeks out, do this. 3 months, 3 weeks out, you do this, that kind of thing. And it just leads you through the process of making sure all your T's are crossed, all your I's are dotted, and that you actually fill your retreat. So it shows you how many sales calls you need to have, of course, putting people through the marketing funnel first, and then having sales calls, and all the steps that you need to do before. Yep, it's pretty powerful. So I'm going to give that to you in just a minute. And that's a free gift, no charge, if you take the next step in my funnel here. We know what a funnel means by now, I think. People who don't know business very well are like, what are you talking about going up your funnel? Are you being nasty? No, I'm not being nasty. Sorry, that might be too soon for the sex jokes. I apologize. Anyway, we're going to dive into one of these spreadsheets right here that is gently audacious calculations. Christine's here with me. I might have lost the rest of you, but Christine's still here. Awesome. That's what I love about non-corporate training too. Y'all, this would not fly in a corporate setting. All right, let's go to spreadsheets here. Hold on one second. Never too soon, says Sarah. All right, I'm going to share with you. Apparently, I'm signed out. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share with you something I'm going to share with you as well. I'm on view only. Oh, no. Oh, I can still edit it then. Yeah, I can still edit on view only, right? No, I can't. Shoot. Hold on one second. Hold please while I log back in and figure out how to. All right, we're going to ditch that idea. And I'm going to put it on here instead. Okay, stop share for just a second. Hold with me here. Oh, my face just got giant. Sorry about that. All right, we're going to go to Retreat Works. All right, here it is. Retreat Mastery Doc. And where did my share bar go? Here it is. Okay, we're going to try this again. I'm going to go to what's called the Instant Profit Calculator is what we're going to do. Nice glasses. Thank you. I call them my Edna glasses. Edna from Incredibles, right? I'm so blind, y'all. Okay, where's my share button? Share. Okay, hoping this works. And in case you were like, oh no, I have to be a tech goddess to make this business work. I've grown a $10 million business and I'm still not a tech goddess. Okay, here we go. Let's jump in. All right, so this is one of many. I'm going to show you, actually, I'm going to drag this down and show you this thing down here. I'm going to show you this whole thing. Let me make this all bigger. Okay, so this is the spreadsheet that I'm going to share with you. It's called the Retreat Mastery Doc. And if you look along the bottom, I've got tons of tabs here. So I've got all kinds of good stuff for you here. I've got, let's see, what are interesting, Profit First Budget. That's pretty fun. We've got the Instant Profit Calculator, which I'm going to show you right now. We've got menu, shopping list, client packing list, retreat leader supply list, all kinds of goodies on here. What's funny is I got off a call with a client a few minutes ago before this started. And she said, when you showed me those spreadsheets, I almost orgasmed. I was like, okay, all right, whatever floats your boat. So it feels like there's some people here that love spreadsheets and some people that are like, spreadsheets are for the dogs, don't like spreadsheets. So where would you fit in that category? Do you love them, hate them, somewhere in the middle? What would you say? Love them. Says Sarah. Virginia's a fan, spreadsheet lover, love that. And that's surprising to me. Lots of love them. I usually get a significant portion of hate them, never want to see them again. And so I'm seeing lots of spreadsheet love right here. Love it. Okay, here we go. Let's dive in. Instant, that's my love language, says Veronique. You're a lucky partner, right? All right, Instant Profit Calculator. Here we go. All right, so today's date is what? 7/25/24. So every day you're going to track the past so that you can predict the future. And that's the phrase I want you to think. We track the past, not so we can pat ourselves in the back and say, ooh, didn't we do well? And isn't this exciting? But we track the past so that we can predict the future. That's the reason why we track the past. So every day you're going to track the past. And here's a clue. On your first retreat, as long as you're a business owner, you will not need ad spend. Most likely. There's a few situations where it doesn't work, but most likely, if you are an existing business owner, you will not need ad spend. That's really good news. And so for your first retreat, ad spend will be 0. For your next retreat, you will need ad spend, unless you have a giant Instagram following, which I don't. But I want to show you how to do it without needing a giant Instagram following. So your first retreat, 0 ad spend. I'm going to show you at my retreat if you have a goal of coming, and that is called the splice technique, where as long as you are a business owner, again, 95% of people this will work for, as long as you're a business owner, you'll be able to find 300 to 500 leads pretty dang easily. And then you'll put those leads through the marketing funnel that you will build in entirety at my retreat. You won't leave with, oh, I need to do this, and I've got all these stars of everything I need to do. Nope. You will already, by the end of my retreat, be calling people that are through your marketing funnel. You will already be doing that. That's how quickly we're going to move. Isn't that so fun? Anyway, so you'll be putting your leads through the funnel. I don't have time to train 2.5 days of marketing right now, but know that you'll be reaching out to some leads. So let's say you reach out to 10 leads on that day. And let's say you book 2 appointments and those 2 appointments show and you get 1 sale. And let's say your retreat price is $5,000 and you just closed $5,000. You with me so far? The reason, you guys love spreadsheets, of course you're with me. All right, so the reason you track the past is to fill in the blank. The reason we track the past is to predict the future, says Sarah. Perfect. Conversion rates are important. We don't have time to cover them. We're going to skip them for now. We're going to go straight to the insight section. This insight section is going to ask you, how much money do you want to make? How much revenue? Revenue is a top line number. I'm not going to give you a whole finance lesson now, but you'll get one at the retreat. But it's a top line number. It means gross sales. So it doesn't have any expenses taken out of it. This number here is what I want my client, so you, to walk away with a $50,000 retreat. That's the goal. That's the goal. It might not happen for your first retreat, but you're going to work towards that goal of $50,000 in revenue per retreat. This model will then show you, okay, so Naima says $100,000. Perfect. If you're like, this is for the year, this is how much I want to make in sales for the year, right? I want to make $100,000 in sales. You will need to, throughout that year, probably for 2 retreats, reach out to 893 leads. Does that make sense? If you're like, for my first retreat, my goal is to get to 20,000 in revenue. Awesome. You'll need to reach out to 179 leads. Why this is so powerful is, first of all, this is numbers made up on my made up numbers right here. My made up numbers are not super valuable for you. What's more valuable is your actual data. When you are putting your information in here, it doesn't matter if you're a really crappy salesperson. It doesn't matter, because based on your numbers, you're going to be like, yeah, Jim Bob over there can sell a sale here, but I have zeros across the board on all of these, right? Awesome. You will just need to reach out to more people. And so you can get your goals either way. If you're a dynamite salesperson, you have to work a little less hard. Congratulations. If you're like, oh, me and sales don't get along. First of all, let me show you the exact script, the exact sales script that you need. And then you'll be like, oh, this makes sense. And here's a spoiler alert. The sales script has nothing to do with saying the right things. It's just asking beautiful questions. That's all it is. Spoiler alert on that one. All right, so here's your $20,000. You need 237 leads. Does that make sense? You can also do it this way. If you're like, oh, I have 4 spots left in my retreat, I need to reach out to 363 more leads, whatever it is. And this will show you the pacing that you will need to work to fill your retreat. How is that beautiful? You will not need to stress last minute and be like, oh no, my retreat hasn't sold out. Hurry, what do I do? I need to cancel it, or I need to like call my friends, or what do I do? What do I do? It eliminates all of that talk track. And instead you're like, oh, we are now my assistant is on the back end here and she's probably laughing because this is what we do every single week. We are 18 weeks out. This is how many leads or this is how many sales we need to get per week to have this filled out 3 months before the event. That's the goal, right? And so you can see this takes the stress and the like, fill the retreat, it just takes that out of the equation. And it's just, nope, I need to reach out to 237 leads. Let's say I have 2 months to do that. I just divide that up divided by 8. Let me see. I'm just a nerd. I just want to figure out what that is. Let's see. Let's take out my trusty little calculator here. So we're like, okay, I have 237 leads I need to fill out, or I need to reach out to. I need to divide that by 8 weeks of work I have. I need to reach out to 30 leads a week. Doesn't that feel good? And you're like, huh, that's all I need to do. And by the way, reaching out to a lead takes you about 15 seconds. And so you're like, okay, all right, that's what I need to do. And again, we'll show you that whole system of reaching out when you come to my retreat, because it takes a bit to learn. All right. What are your takeaways from this? What are your takeaways? What are you seeing? What are you learning? I want to hear. Christine's a fan. Everyone else is either asleep. What happened? Where did we go? Morna says it's all about the number. Work the numbers. Yep. And I'm all about, okay, here's your end goal. How do we back into that end goal? Know how many leads you need to make the desired revenue. There's a science to it. Yes, Beverly. I need to narrow down a niche. Yes, you do. Anisha, I have a goal in mind for profit. Yep. It's always a numbers game. I see the method still here, says Demetria. Perfect. All right. So we're going to move on, but please know that when you're going to get this, you're also going to see this instant profit calculator 3.0. This is what happens when you add ad spend into it. And so let me just throw some numbers down here really quickly again. What's the date? 25th again. Let me just duplicate these numbers here. Like you're just going to track it just like before, except this time you're going to add ad spend. I'm going to spend $50 and I'm going to get 36 clicks. And I'm going to get 20. It doesn't have to be webinar opt-in. It needs to be some kind of opt-in. And then show to the webinar, it needs to be like, nah, I'm not going to edit this right now, but it doesn't need to be a webinar. There's lots of different techniques you can use, but you will put people through that funnel again. And then there's the revenue in the end. What's so exciting about this Instant Profit Calculator 3.0, when you start tracking your ad spend, watch what it shows you. Okay, I want to make 35,000. Awesome. This is how much I need in ad spend. I'm going to make 35,000. I will need to spend 2,600 to pay for the ads to make that 35,000. Does that make sense? And that's when things get exciting, because you're like, oh, I can actually run ads now because I know what the purpose is. I know what the whole funnel is to get there. And it doesn't have to be like this. I guess I'm running an ad. I guess I'll set a budget of $200. I guess I'll see what happens. Hint, nothing much happens down that road if you've done that before. All right. How do we receive the spreadsheet? Says Haiti. I'm so glad you asked. Hang tight and I will show you the next step and you'll get this spreadsheet absolutely free. No obligation on anything. You'll get the spreadsheet all free. So some of you who are like me are probably like taking screenshots and trying to like put in the formulas. Where's the formula, that kind of thing. You don't need to do any of that because I'm just going to give it to you. So hang tight and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, we're going to go back to these slides right here really quickly. And let's go now to, we've covered hold on, let me line this up because I'm a little bit OCD like that. Some of you are saying, oh, thank you. Okay. So the problem is we didn't go into business to read spreadsheets, but that really is what business is. As much as we as healers want to say business is manifesting and business is a spiritual principle and all those things I truly believe in. I love the principle of manifestation and putting it out there and belief in the universe. Like I'm 100% on board with all of that. And a lot of what requires to build a business is numbers. It is just, I don't know, it's like believing so much that you are going to, I don't know, be able to live on just air. I have a weird brother-in-law. Here's a story I've never told before. My brother-in-law is weird. And he has lots of theories on the life, which is beautiful, and everyone has their theories. And one of his theories is there's a whole group of people that live somewhere. I don't know where they live, but a group of people live somewhere that don't actually eat. They just eat air, and they're able to survive just eating air because they're so spiritual. And as much as I love spiritual teaching, I don't believe that a human body can survive on air. I do believe that there is a physical realm to the body that requires water and requires food. And the same thing with business. I absolutely believe that growing a business is one of the most profound spiritual experiences I've ever had. And you can't grow a business that I've ever seen without learning business fundamentals, which is a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of like step 1, step 2, step 3. So it's discouraging to me sometimes when I see really spiritual people that are beautiful, their hearts of gold, and they keep trying to grow their business by believing more, by having more faith, by manifesting more, instead of learning actual business skills. So what I say to you is, let's eat some food. Let's eat some food, shall we? All right. let's jump into our next topic here. Our next topic is money. Here's money. So we got our message down, we have our machine, all our fundamentals, and we have our money over here. This again, the Paint My Number marketing, the whole strategy, and then the process of building that actually happens in my retreat. We actually jump on the phones and do sales scripts with, guess what? Real clients, not my clients. These are going to be your clients that you will drum up while you're at the retreat. How do you drum them up? Paint by number marketing method, right? And so at this time in the retreat, this is the last 2 days of the retreat, you will have nailed your message. You'll have all of your machine parts built. And then we're going to go into building your marketing. And then you will be on the phones with real clients by the end of the retreat. Isn't that crazy? That's what you can do in 5 days. You really can. Like, people are usually come and they're a little bit skeptical. They're like, maybe other people will be able to, but I won't be able to. And I'm like, oh, watch yourself. So it's pretty fun. So anyways, these are sales calls with your actual clients. So that's going to happen at my retreat, but let's talk about this one right here, the scaling beyond 6 figures down here. I'm going to show you a model for how to grow this business. Someone said, and tell me if this was you, someone said at the top of the hour that they were like, how do you do multiple retreats? How do you do that time? I want to show you the model for doing that. So this is your basic S model, right? S curve model. And here's where everyone starts. This is where I started. This is where you'll start. This is where everyone on the planet starts. And that is 1 to 2 retreats a year. I want to run 1 to 2 retreats a year, right? And this will generate, if you follow my exact building model, 50 to 100K revenue. And again, it might take a few trials of this to be able to really nail the process, but you have in your hands, after you leave my retreat, the model to get to 50 to 100K revenue. Remember, revenue is top line. It's not after expenses are taken out. So 50 to 100K revenue. So that is what I call a retreat add-on. And here's what retreat add-ons are. Retreat add-on is a really easy add-on to your existing business. So you take your existing business and you just start running retreats with it. You don't need extra staff. You don't need to run ads. You don't need anything fancy. You are going to use what's called the Instant Profit Calculator 2.0. That's the one I just showed you. You don't have to run ads, and that's what it's going to look like to do a retreat add-on. And so that's option 1, retreat add-on. And again, where you want to go on this journey is completely yours. I'm 100% behind you. If you want to do 1 to 2 retreats a year, if you want to do 200 a year, I'm 100% behind you. What's best for you. But if you want to move on from that, and I did pretty quickly, I hosted my first retreat in November of 2011. And then I went on the next year to host retreats. I can't remember if it was like every other month. And then we moved up to every month pretty quick. And then we did twice a month. And then we did every week. And then we did 3 different locations every single week. And so then you start running a lot of retreats. And that's where I'm like, y'all, I don't know if I can recommend that as craziness. But for those of you who are crazy like I was, you can do that as well. So let's talk about 3 to 6 retreats a year. This is running a retreat every quarter. That's 3, or running 6 retreats a year, which is every other month running a retreat, right? This is when you have to run ads. You might hire salespeople at this point. You'll naturally build a following. For those of you who do want to build that Instagram following, you'll naturally build one as you move up and start running lots of events. My last business had, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of followers, and you just naturally build it when you're doing so much in activity, if that makes sense. And then we have right here your retreat empire. For those of you who are truly crazy, here's your retreat empire. This is 300 to $1 million in revenue. If you have ever had a goal of getting to that 7 figures, that $1 million mark, it will require, with this model, 20 retreats a year. 20 retreats a year. And that sounds like a lot, but you're like, wait a second, that is 2 a month, right? 2 retreats a month is 20 a year. Maybe that's somewhat doable, right? And then if you want to be really crazy, like I was, do 200 retreats a year, and then you just add on another 0 on that. There's your 10 million right there. 200 retreats a year with this model got me to 10 million. There it is. And what's crazy is you're like, okay, don't I do like extra fancy things? Don't I like build smaller online courses and lead magnets and logistics and write my book and design my app? Sure, you can do all that if you want to, and it's fun. It keeps your brain engaged. But really what grows the business is that basic unit, that basic building block of, how do I host a profitable retreat? Just one. How do I host a profitable retreat? And then you do it again and again and again and again, and you choose how many times you want to do it. And yes, it's very much like a rinse and repeat. How many days are the retreats for 200 per year? I did 3-day retreats, and we did 200 per year. We had an office in Houston. We had an office in Phoenix, and I bought a building in around Salt Lake City, and we ran 2 events most weeks in the Salt Lake City office. Crazy. And I don't know if I'd recommend that. The sweet spot for me, honestly, was when I was actually, because at that level, if you're a $10 million business owner, you don't know your clients. You're not actually in the rooms. I'd come in and kiss the babies, that kind of thing. Like I'd get up there and do my like 20-minute like spiel, but I didn't actually get to know people. And my favorite stage of business with retreats was right here. I loved actually being at the retreats, meeting the clients, doing the things and being there with the clients. And guess what I'm doing now, right? When all hell breaks loose and everything is reset to zero, what do I actually want to do with my time? Right here, having some fun. Christine, ooh, fun questions. How long is a good length for a retreat? It depends. I was going to say that 3 days if it's in the US only. I do minimum 5 if you're abroad. 7 if you're going to make people fly to Europe or Tahiti. It needs to be a 7 or 10. And then I have a friend who does like African safaris, and she does a 2-week retreat, 11 days up to 14 days. And those retreats are $11,000. So it just depends on the length of them. All right, great questions. So now you're probably saying, okay, oh, first of all, let me ask you this. Where do you want to go? What's your dream? What's your dream? Retreat add-on, retreat business, retreat empire. Tell me, what's your dream? I want to hear it. If you could wave a magic wand, retreat center, empire, retreat add-on, wellness retreat in Europe. Oh, I love it, y'all. Morocco, retreat business, Italy, Morocco, France, Costa Rica. I love it. We've got some good dreams here. Bali, I love it. Italy. And then the next thing is where I want you to ask yourself, what level of business do you want to build? What level? Nama says $1 million looks like 20 retreats a year. Tammy says, get one going for this fall. Anyone want to come? Cute. Virginia says retreat business. Yep. So a lot of here, and I hear a few retreat empires. Christine's very specific on her 800,000. I like that, Christine. Sarit is 300,000. So she's the retreat business. Leslie, does your spreadsheet include building and host costs? Yeah, there's a budget on there. Yeah, good question. Veronique is 250 a year. That's retreat business. Beverly is up here to like retreat empire. Morna is 1 to 4, all over the place. And you absolutely can do at any level that you want to play. That's what's so beautiful about learning how to host a profitable retreat. Just learn that one model and you can do it as many times as you want to, or as few times as you want to. All right. So how do we get from here to there? Now I want to go to Italy, Bali, and Morocco 3 times a year. This is what I want. How do I actually do it? So you've probably seen this model before. You've probably even taught this model before. There is a hard way now that makes the future easy, or there's an easy way now that makes the future hard. Let me tell you the easy way, because I talk to y'all, not you specifically, but I talk to people just like you that are on these webinars, and I talk to them frequently. And guess what I hear all day long? I hear, I did this on my own and I worked my ass off and I made $500 and I swear I would never do that again, but I want to do retreats and I want to learn how to do it. And so the easy way now is I'm going to just try to figure this out. And I'm going to get together with a girlfriend. This is usually the model, and see if this rings true. For those of you who have hosted retreats before, you get together with a girlfriend. Maybe they have nothing to do with your business. Maybe not. I've seen people host like a money retreat and they brought like an interior decorator. Like it's just bizarre. People like, anyway, I won't get on my soapbox on that, but you'll get together with a girlfriend and you'll promise each other that both of you will do your best to fill the retreat. They'll reach out to their people. Maybe they won't. You'll reach out to your people. Maybe you won't. Somewhere there's going to be anger and frustration in there as one person's carrying more of the weight than the other. Is it sounding familiar at all? And at the end of the day, you'll rent out this place and it'll probably cost $7,000 or $10,000 to rent out. And you'll barely squeak by and you'll be stressed the entire time leading up to it. And then you'll have your retreat. You'll invite a bunch of free people the last second because you weren't able to fill it out. And at the end of the day, you'll make, I don't know, $500, $1,500, and you'll split it between the two of you. And maybe you'll be friends, maybe you won't by the end. Wow. So that's what an easy retreat looks like. It's not learning how to actually do the retreat model and just pretending that we can just split it and something magic will happen. That's the easy way. The future does get hard. And I hear that story again and again and again. I hear that story. The hard way is, okay, I actually want to respect the business that this is. I want to learn how to do this and do this. I want to host not just a girlfriend, let's get together retreat, but I actually want to make this sustainable for my business and my family. Sustainable is key, because if you're working that hard for $500, it's not sustainable. You say, I want to learn how to build this profitably. And then the future becomes easy. You learn my method. If you don't love me, learn someone's method. Find someone who has done this before, but I have done this 500 times. And if you're feeling me, I would love to give you my method to teach that to you. And then the future becomes easy. I wouldn't say easy, I'd say easier, right? You're like, oh, I know what to do. I know what to do. So I have all these WhatsApp groups, if you're familiar with WhatsApp, of all the groups that have come before, and everyone stays active and they all chat and they always post all their retreats that they're having. And they're like, woohoo, I'm filling out my 90 days. And it's so fun to see everyone's progress on that. Yeah. Yeah. So there's the hard now. You're going to invest money and you're going to invest time and you're going to invest like frustration with the learning process. Learning is never fun, but then the easy part is that. So here's my invitation. I would like to invite you to Samara, Costa Rica. Has anyone here been to Costa Rica before? Samara, Costa Rica. It's 5 days to build a retreat. It's personally hosted by me. I only host 3 or 4 of these a year because it's so much friggin' work, y'all. I only host 3 or 4 of these. The rest of the ones I do easy and my hotel makes money, but this is a different wing. Let's see, Virginia's never been. It's amazing. It's really beautiful. Jacqueline loves Costa Rica. This is, again, an invitation for business coaches, wellness business owners, therapists, life coaches, existing retreat leaders, but it's not a fit. Bless your heart. I love you, but it's not a fit if you are brand new to business. And so go get some business under your belt. It's not a great fit if you're brand new. It's also not a great fit if you can't pay your bills, if you're behind on your mortgage, if you're behind on your rent, if you can't pay utilities. This model is not a fit for you. Let me tell you why, until you get on your feet. It's not a fit because this retreat model will require that you put money down on a retreat location. And if you can't pay your bills, there's no way you're going to have the bandwidth emotionally or mentally to go chasing down all this stuff and then to put money down on a retreat center if you can't pay your bills. So I would recommend figure out your financial piece first, and then consider opening a retreat business or starting a retreat business once you have the basics in your life paid for. All right, so you will learn all of this at the Build a Retreat in 5 days. So again, we're going to go deeply into s'more. Then we're going to do 10-minute marketing recon. We're going to show you how to piggyback on your competitors' following. We're going to do the matrix, which is this content right here. We're going to teach you how to be an effective speaker so that you will not have mutiny. And I'm so sorry. I did not mean to enter that fear into your brains. And I've only seen it once. I've been to many retreats and I've only seen it once. But you'll learn how to actually make an engaging retreat with your content and activities. You'll do all the spreadsheets and more. I'm sharing about half of the spreadsheets that I share with all of my clients, all the contracts and the agreements and everything. 90-day perfect process. You'll know exactly what you need to do step by step every week before coming to your retreat. And then, of course, here's the big mama, the paint by number marketing and the giving script. This is really what you're probably paying for to come. You're paying to learn, how do I actually sell into my retreat? And then there's the model of how you can grow it as well. So you come to my retreat from maybe one day I want to host a retreat. Maybe it'll be this year, maybe not. And then you'll come to my retreat and the date is booked. The location is chosen. Content is planned. Your content is blocked out. Your messaging is nailed. Your logistics are built. All your spreadsheets are in order. Your numbers are tracked and you've actually had sales calls. That's what happens from maybe one day to the date is booked. I can't promise you that you will have sales while you're there. We usually have 1 or 2 people out of a group of about 10 that does have sales while they're there. So I can't promise that, but if you are a great salesperson, there's a good chance that you will actually be able to have sales while you're there as well. So that's fun, huh? And so one of the first things that comes up, there might come up for you, is the thought of, I have to already be successful in order to come to this retreat, right? I have to, like chicken and egg, right? Which comes first? I want to be successful. And so you think, oh, I have to already be successful to pay for this retreat. And I want to just point out that you're going to start having sales calls at the retreat. So you don't have to wait all the way till you host your first retreat to be able to make money at this. You'll be having sales calls while you're at my retreat. And then in the next weeks after that, you're going to be setting calls for yourself while at the retreat, and then you'll be having those sales calls. And I would love to share with you one of my favorite clients. Hold on one second, I'm going to share this with you. This is someone who sold out her retreat in 3 weeks. She sold out her whole retreat in 3 weeks. And here she is right here. A background on her, first of all. Background is she hosted one yoga retreat and it sold out really easily. And she's sweet, I got this. She sold to her friends. And then she posted for her next retreat and crickets. All of her friends had come. She had no way of marketing and she had to cancel her retreat. She had one sale. She had to refund the money and lose the money that she put down the spot. It's a pretty common story. And so she came to my retreat thinking like, is this actually possible for me? And here's her story. If I can get this to play. Sometimes Google Play is nice. Let's see if it does today.
I sold out my entire retreat of 15 people in 3 weeks.
And so you can see what the retreat looks like.
Stepping into that reality and putting the...
Really quickly, this was filmed before I purchased my retreat center. So the background stuff is at a place that we used to rent. It's not my retreat center. So I'll show you that in a second.
Actions into motion. It became very real. I contacted several leads. I followed up with personalized communication. I was on the phone every single weekend
for 3
with
weeks.
Several people and selling my retreat in a way that was fun.
There's the ladder of abstraction.
Engaging. I met a lot of people and I had a lot of great conversations, and I have renewed confidence that I can do this and do this well and provide really good experiences for people.
And we're going to stop her there. So that's a sneak peek at the retreat. I'm going to show you my actual retreat center. My goal is not to sell the retreat center on here. You're welcome to follow up on that, but that's not my goal here today. But I'm going to show you what this looks like. Let's see, let me turn the volume off. Okay, so this is Samara, Costa Rica. This actually is the hotel right here. So this is my little house back here. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath house, and we'll be doing some of the training in my house. But this is the hotel and retreat center right here. So you can see it steps out onto the pool deck, and then you're right here on the beach. So you're going to be having coffee in the morning, walking the beach. It's really beautiful. I'm a little bit biased, but it's the hammocks and the palm trees and everything. We just finished building a big yoga shala. They just put in the floor today, which I'm so excited about. I just saw pictures. And we just painted, so it's no longer red. Hallelujah. This has all been redecorated. I need to redo my video, don't I? But it's right on the beach, really beautiful. And it's like a place to get away from, I don't know, like when you're in a beautiful setting and deeply relaxed, you go into this flow state that's different than just taking a few hours out of your time while you're there in wherever you live, right? You channel some new space in your brain. And those of you who are spiritual at all and know exactly what I'm talking about, you go into this flow state where you can dream a bigger dream and really get clarity. And this location just gives you that clarity. Breakfasts and dinners are included. We have a cooking staff on location, and so that's all provided for you. If you have a specific diet, we do try to accommodate you as much as possible. You will also have a full kitchen in your hotel. And so if you have a really specific diet, you'll have a refrigerator. You can cook your own food if that's a concern to you. And then lunches, you can either cook in your kitchen or you can head into town. It's about a 15-minute walk into town. You walk down the beach to get into town. It's idyllic. So this is a daily schedule. And those of you who are interested in coming, I'm going to show this for you. And for those of you who are like, I want to dog ear this for the future, I still want to show you all the things that I do with my retreat so you can copy it for your retreat as well. So this is the schedule that I recommend. I do a daily learn in the mornings. This is 9 to noon. That's your learning time. Then a big break in the middle. Whoops, that's it right here. This is your relaxed time. Your 12 to 3, a 3-hour break in the middle to go into town, to take surf lessons, to boogie board, to sit in a hammock and read, to digest everything you just learned here. And then we do a second learning segment from 3 to 6 in the afternoon, or the evening, I should say. So learn, relax, and learn is a really good daily schedule. And that's what I'd recommend for your retreats as well. So what you get, 6 nights oceanfront accommodation, all of your transportation is handled for you. You just get off the airplane, and watch for the guy with like your name on the little thing. His name's Alex. He's a good friend of mine. And he bought this new light up sign. It says, "Welcome to retreat." And so watch for him. All of that is handled. We'll pick you up at the airport. We'll bring you straight to the hotel. There's no coordinating. There's no driving. There's none of that. Just arrive. And then we jump in and get started. We take care of you from there. So the business training is really what you're paying for. I don't know how to put a price tag on that. How much do you price? Here's a business model. So I put 10,000 on that. So add them all together, it's about a $14,000 value. We sold this for years for $7,700. And if you've been on one of my webinars before, that is my pricing. $7,700 is my normal retail pricing. However, recently, so I've got a lot of different income streams coming in. Recently, I've realized, you know what? 7,700 can be a high price point to people. And so I have permanently, I wouldn't say permanently, but for now, I have decreased my rates just to be more affordable. And so instead of 7,700, we are doing $49.97 for November. And so that's what our rate is now. I do have one and only one spot left for August. I know it's like in 2 weeks. If you happen to be able to come in a week or two, I can give you a screaming deal, but I totally understand if that's not the case. So November is what we're selling into right now. We actually had a cancellation for August, and that's always hard because it usually means family hardship. So anyway, August one spot, but November is what we're selling in now for $49.97. And so this is your next step. Let's see, Tammy says any retreats for early 2025. We do, and follow up with me and I will tell you dates and we'll have that conversation about future dates. But right now we're filling November 2nd through 8th. So your next step and how you get all of those spreadsheets is by filling out the application to come. So you're going to fill out this application. I'm going to pop this in the chat box. Let's see. If you're here, if you can pop it in. I always put it in wrong. Oh, thank you. Bless your heart. Thank you for doing that. So go ahead and pop that in. You fill out the application, they apply now. And when you do that, after you fill out the application, you get all of these retreat mastery templates. Those are all available to you instantly when you fill that out. And then after you fill that out, I don't send you to a sales page. I don't say, okay, and then you can come, because this is my time, right? And I want to make sure that this is a good fit for you. And I want to make sure you're a good fit for what we're doing. And so I put a personal interview in the middle there. And the personal interview is with me. And we just get to chat. We get to chat for a few minutes. We get to say, how is this going to fit in your business? What does your business look like now? Where do you see retreats fitting in? What's the plan? You can ask me questions if you have burning questions on that. And then if you're interested in coming to the retreat, we talk about how we can make this work. Oftentimes money is an obstacle. For $5,000, I know frequently people don't have $5,000 sitting in a bank account with, what do I do with this money? I wish I had something to do with that $5,000. And so let me work with you. We can do payment plans. We can put things together to make it work. But that's your next step, is you and I will grab a calendar appointment together and we'll spend just a few minutes chatting. So that's your first step is this. Apply now, get all those bonuses. And then the second step is we chat. And so as soon as you fill out the application, it'll immediately serve up a calendar for you to jump on my calendar. This used to not be with me. And what I found is I really like to see who's going to be there. Oh, how much do I share with this? Let's just say I learned some lessons. And in this stage of my life, I want to just make sure everyone in the room is just right there, ready to go with me, and we're ready to rock and roll. So that's why I put myself in the process, and let's chat. We'll chat for just a few minutes. And if I can help you find a way to afford that, to do payment plans, I'm happy to do that as well. You will go through all of these steps and you will leave with your business retreat model intact. You're so welcome. You're welcome, Morna. You're welcome, Sarah. You're welcome, Christine. All right. Leica is going to pop that link in there one more time, and I'm going to answer a bunch of FAQs. So if you have a question for me, go ahead and ask it in the chat box and I'll answer it real time. For those of you who have to run, bless you. But for those of you who want to stick around and see how I do the structure of my retreat so that you can copy it for yours, you are welcome to. Also, for those of you who are interested in coming to the retreat, I want to answer these questions for you. So here we go. Do you offer online training? Absolutely. We offer online training that you take before you come to the retreat, if that is a goal of yours. You absolutely do not have to go through the online course before you come to the retreat. We did this in case you have a retreat already on the books and you're like scrambling and you're going to host that retreat either before you come in November or right after you come in November. You need to have a leg up. That's why I'd offer the online training. So for those of you, does that fit anyone here? Does anyone already have a retreat on the books that will happen before November or like pretty soon after November, like maybe a December retreat? Does that fit anyone? Okay, Marilyn, perfect. And then Yeku, I'm planning one for December that I want to go to. And for those of you who have that situation, I would recommend taking yourself through the online course that you get once you sign up for the retreat. We don't do it independent. We don't offer just the online training. It comes with the retreat. Veronique, you're March. You have enough time for March, Veronique, to do the full system. Not even a problem. Tama says last week of October in Italy. And as that's this October, that's coming up here pretty soon. So I'd recommend for you, Tammy, that you would do the online training as well. All right, next question we frequently get, how much is airfare? You are going to fly into Liberia, Costa Rica. I'm going to put that in the chat box because everyone asks me to repeat that. Liberia, Costa Rica, there's 2 airports there. So you're going to fly into Liberia. I'm in Salt Lake City, which is a kind of a smaller market. Right now, I can get plane tickets for $300 to $500. Crazy round trip. And that is on Southwest or Alaska or any of those discount airlines. If you want to fly like a normal person and want to pay regular prices, usually around $1,000, $700 to $1,000 is really normal. And so that's how much airfare is. If you're in like a big market, if you're in Houston, Dallas, LAX, Chicago, and if you're in a bigger market, you can get airfare much cheaper because I have to fly from Salt Lake into Houston to then leave, right? So you can get it cheaper if you live in a smaller market. Yep. How many of you live in a bigger market, by the way? Houston, let's see, there's flights Houston, LAX, there's flights out of Denver, there's flights out of Florida, Miami, Atlanta, Denver. Denver has a straight shot to Liberia, I think on Southwest, possibly. So if you're in Denver, you're in luck. Anyway, so that's awesome. Next question is, can I come early or stay late? Yep, some people like to make vacations out of this. They come with their family, they stay for a week at a different location, obviously, and then they come to my retreat. Or they stay a day or two after or a day or two before. If we have availability at my retreat center, you're welcome to come early or stay late. We usually don't. We usually do block to block with retreats. But I can help you or my team can help you find an Airbnb, no problem, that's close. Beverly, New York, you'll have pretty easy straight shots from New York as well. Can I get a private room? Absolutely. There is an upgrade because essentially what you're doing is you're taking 2-person's spots, right? So the rooms are double occupancy. It's an apartment. It's a full apartment, a 1-bed, 1-bath apartment on the beach. And if you want to get a private room, you get your own apartment. And so yes, you absolutely can get a private room. It is a $500 upgrade to get your private room, but I really want to do that for you. Even though you take someone's $5,000 spot entirely, what it does though is that, I don't know, some people just do not want to be sleeping with someone else, and I want to respect that. So yes, you can upgrade to that. Can I bring a partner? Absolutely. You can bring a business partner, you can bring a life partner, you can bring whatever kind of partner you want. And you guys, if you want to, would share a room. You don't have to upgrade to the private room if you want to share a room with the partner that you're bringing, if that makes sense. Are men invited? Yes, they are. We have men at almost every retreat I run, and we love having men there. If you identify as a man, we'd love to have you. And am I going fast or what? Let's see. Virginia says a retreat must be hosted in a venue only. Is it possible to call a retreat a trip, staying in different hotels and traveling through a few cities? I have no problem calling that a retreat. I would, yeah, it's a traveling retreat. I've worked with the client who did that. She did like buy the dress retreats, and she showed people how to travel and how to like really focus on what makes them just light up inside. And it was more of a traveling retreat. So I have no problem with that. Let's see. If money were no object, this is my next question for you. If money were no object, who would want to be there? Who would want to come to my retreat? If money were no object, how many of you would raise your hand and say, I'm there, I'm there, I'm there, I'm there? Sarah, Veronique, Marilyn, Naima, awesome. So that might tell you a little bit of what the obstacle is, right? If you're like, I'd love to come, but it's finance. If you're a good candidate for this, jump on my call and let's see if we can figure out a way to work out finance. I just want to encourage you in that. And let's not let money hold us back. Let's not do that. Tama says it's the travel dates. Yep, totally get that. And Tammy, let's talk about the other dates that I've got coming up here. All right, your next step, fill out that application. This is November 2nd through 8th. And you get all this cool stuff when you fill out the application. And let's leave on a non-salesy note, shall we? Let me find a pretty flower or something to end on. Here's my end note. I had no idea when I hosted my first retreat in Bear Lake, Utah, Afraid of Mutiny, that I would stumble on a lifestyle, as cheesy as that word is, on a lifestyle that like it would completely change the trajectory of my life. I had no idea I could take this retreat business as far as I did. And I had no idea that I would love it as much as I do. Again, there's no other way to get as deep of impact and like this connection that is built in the retreat model than any other way that I've ever found. And so if you're feeling that and want to throw your hat in the ring of life and say, maybe there's something more than what I'm doing now, I can tell you that there is, and it's pretty wonderful. So if you're feeling my energy, I'd absolutely love to have you at my retreat. Last call, Maryland, last minute date for August. Let me actually look it up. Let me see when that is. I did not think that anyone would ask about that. That's hilarious. Okay, it's August 1st through the 9th. It looks like, is that right? August 1st through the 9th? Nope, sorry, it's August 3rd through the 9th. Yeah, let me know ASAP if you want to do that. You might still be able to get flights for pretty cheap. And if you're flexible, you might as well get a huge discount and come. So that could be fun. All right, Jacqueline, sounds like I'll talk to you next week. Marilyn's checking flights. Awesome. Virginia will schedule. Perfect. And then let me know if you have any other questions. If not, we're ending for the day. You guys have been so great. I love your chat comments. I love your participation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll see you soon. So thanks, everyone.